All right, and welcome back to the First Team Fantasy Podcast. In this one, we have all of our previews from Sunday morning on. So I'm going to start it off with the everything but alluring matchup. The Panthers going into Tennessee to take on the Titans. Panthers are currently last place in the NFL and damn near last place in the NFL in every offensive category. They are scoring 16.3 points per game, putting them in 29th. Only 174 passing yards per game, which puts them at 28th in the league. Surprisingly, there are four teams worse. 90, it's insane. 92 rushing yards a game, 29th. So we know what we're getting out of this Panthers offense. They're going up against the Tennessee run defense that is only giving up 112 yards on the ground per game. I think it's going to be another tough start, especially when recently now we've seen Chuba and Miles Sanders go pretty much back to an even split in the backfield.
Yeah.
At one point, we thought we were going to see Chuba kind of take over. Well, they have kind of made fools of us for that sentiment, and now we're back to right where we were. I don't know that either of these options are a good start this week. I'd prefer to sit them both. Tennessee is giving up 230 yards through the air. To me, all that says is I feel a little better about starting Adam Thielen. We were starting him anyways. So, it's really cut and dry for this one. You're pretty much only starting Adam Thielen for the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah.
If you want to take the risk of starting the Panthers defense, I'd still probably not take it just because they are so bad against the run. They are currently giving up 129 yards on the ground per game. Well, to me, that's just saying you're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. You're going to see a lot of Tyjae Spears. I think they're going to control the game on the ground. Obviously, this is a good week for Derrick Henry. I think this is a good week for Spears if you want to go ahead and flex him if you need. But as we talked about, this is a week where there are no buys. So even given the good matchup, you should still probably have someone better as a flex option. DeAndre Hopkins, think you got to throw him in.
Yeah.
He's been the guy there, the only guy there. No one else has really been too effective at all. And Treylon Burks, who looked like he was going to start producing a little more, he got that very nasty concussion a couple weeks ago against the Steelers, and we haven't seen him since. Yeah, that's really all. Not starting Will Levis, not starting
Chris Moore,
Chris Moore, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, whichever.
I think it's Westbrook-Ikhine.
I think it is Westbrook-Ikhine, but not starting him. Not starting Chigakonkwo. So, yeah, if you want to start Nick Folk in the Titans defense, I would be very comfortable with that. But otherwise, that's really all for this game.
Yeah. No, that game is honestly, my first game, unless it's a divisional matchup. So, for actual football purposes, it's good. But fantasy...
Yeah, it is a meaningful, real football game. But, yeah. Oof.
The Saints at the Falcons. And we know how the Saints play football. It is make it as ugly as possible and hopefully come out on top. And I think the Falcons are absolutely willing to play that style of football. This game could end up 17-13 or something along those lines, and I would not be surprised. The Falcons defense is actually pretty solid. Honestly, what's been keeping them somewhat relevant this season, they're 8th against the pass, giving up basically 200 yards even, and 14th against the rush, giving up 108 yards. I do not like the Derek Carr start because, again, we've discussed no teams on bye. I don't think Derek Carr is fitting in that top 10, or even if you're in a 12-man, top 12 fantasy start this week. Alvin Kamara is an obvious start. Chris Olave are obvious starts.
Yes.
Michael Thomas, significant injury, so now it's A.T. Perry
yes.
And Rashid Shaheed. Just in my opinion, I don't feel completely comfortable starting either of them because you should have a full roster. If you were going to roll the dice on one of them, I guess Shaheed, only because A.T. Perry got the touchdown, but it's one of those things when guys haven't been used all season and they're really playing, it's like a Brandon Powell. Because they are playing because of injury, I'm not the highest on them. So, but I'm cautious starting either of them. And then, are you throwing Taysom Hill in this week? Is he a top 10 tight end?
It's just hard to say because we liked the involvement he was getting for a few weeks. He was, from week 6 to week 9, it was 12.2, 16.8, 22.4, 20.6. Last week, he did not have much involvement, only had 1 carry and 2 receptions.
You know what, though? I mean, it's almost worth rolling the dice because it's the tight end position. Like, we had people that, Logan Thomas, who'd been super consistent, and he just got 3.5.
No, exactly. I think he'll have involvement in this game. And he's currently the tight end 13 on the year, scoring 9.49 PPR points a game. Granted, those 220-point back-to-back weeks obviously sways that average, but we know what he's capable of. He's putting up. You want to roll with a guy like Cade Otton or something who's going to be on the field all the time, but it's how often is he going to get in the end zone? How many opportunities is he actually going to get?
Yeah.
And I see Taysom getting more opportunities than a lot of tight ends.
Yeah. He's definitely not a safe option, but he is a guy that I'd say is worth the roll of the dice. Like if if you're projected to lose heavily and you're like, I need, not a Hail Mary play, but a guy to plug in that can possibly give you 15 to 20 at that tight end position, Taysom very well could.
Well, would you rather play Taysom or one of the Falcons tight ends in the same game?
Taysom Hill.
I agree.
I'd absolutely rather roll Taysom Hill. And
it's questions like that, like Isaiah Likely with the Mark Andrews injury. I'd rather play Taysom, I believe. Like,
until we see Isaiah Likely be involved. But yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So and then I do like Taysom play.
Yeah, and then that segues us to the Falcons, who the Saints defense is 7th against the pass, 199 yards. We know the Falcons do not pass the ball the greatest. The one weak spot on the Saints is their rush defense, which gives up 113 yards, and that's 20th in the NFL. You obviously have to fire up Bijan, obviously. You're not even considering Desmond Ridder. Tyler Algier, do not start him. Not this week with what you should have a full roster. I like the Drake London start with no Marshawn Lattimore and no Mac Hollins, so he legitimately is the only viable receiver there. And then, Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith, I just think there's better options out there. There's safer options. We can't continue. This is Kyle Pitts' 3rd year. And it's been the same story since he came in the league. Actually, his rookie year, he had a very solid season, but I believe he only caught 1 touchdown. That's what hurt his fantasy value. I think he had 1,000 yards.
I believe that year he had Matt Ryan.
That's all that needs to be said. And now he does not. So
the year after that, he had Marcus Mariota, and now he has Desmond Ridder. So
yeah. So I don't trust I don't trust Johnny or Kyle Pitts. The Saints defense in this one, I don't hate, even without Marshawn Lattimore. I don't hate it.
The Falcons just turn the ball over so much, it feels like.
And they're just not scary on offense. Like, they're not going to go out there and put up 30. It's just the Saints defense, I like that play. And that's really it. It was kind of an ugly game.
You're playing Arthur Smith, you load up the box and make him beat you over the top. And
he's not gonna.
So yeah. About Drake London, though, another question I had, because I'm in a position where at my flex position, there's some decent options. I have my final two that I was kind of settling upon were either Josh Downs going up against Tampa Bay or Drake London
Josh
against
Downs.
New Orleans. That's what I'm currently
Josh Downs.
rolling
I
with.
knew you were gonna. I knew that's what it was gonna be. Josh Downs.
Yeah, I feel like there are more people who might be in a similar situation with. So, but yeah, no, I just wanted to get your take on that on the episode. So yeah.
But that's it for this one.
All right. Well, moving on to another amazing matchup. We have the 2-8 New England Patriots going against the 3-8 New York Giants. The Giants currently dead last in the league in points per game at 13.5. 156 or 150.6 yards through the air per game, which is also dead last in the league, but they're rushing for 111 and a half. So that puts them at 13th. They can do one thing well. They will be missing their lead receiver in this game, Darius Slayton. Obviously, that is a huge loss. He's actually been performing well as of the last few games. Tommy DeVito, as I talked about the last time I spoke on him, set the franchise record for the New York Giants with 5 passing touchdowns in his first 2 games. Obviously, without Darren Waller being out there, without his number 1 receiver, Darius Slayton, being out there, it's going to be Saquon Barkley and a bunch of Jags. I don't like to call Jalen Hyatt a Jag, but what can he really do at this point? Yeah, it's not anything I'm, hell, what's the Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard and all. If somebody else wants to take a shot on them, by all means, let them.
Yeah.
That can be, let somebody else set themselves up.
Did you see what Darius Slayton said about Sterling Shepard?
No.
Or about his mother? I think Darius Slayton went over there for Thanksgiving, and he said, just know on Instagram, just know Sterling Shepard's mother has never missed in her life. Never in her life missed. Wrist game Hall of Fame. And I'm sure he was legitimately talking about Thanksgiving cooking, but that just, how he said it, people were like, dude, why would you say it like that? I mean, and now he's doubtful. He's not even going to play this week, dude.
Yeah, she might have missed.
It's...
But yeah, it's not anything that, I mean, obviously you're going to start Saquon Barkley, and that's it.
Yeah.
The Patriots are giving up 228 pass yards per game, but even with that, without Sterling Shepard, or without, Darius Slayton, it's...
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you. Who is the Patriots' leading wide receiver?
It's not Juju. It's not Devonta Parker. It's not Demario Douglas because he just started doing. It's still Kendrick Bourne.
Despite missing the last 2 games, it is Kendrick Bourne with 406 yards. The leading Patriots receiver has 406 yards since they had a bye, 11 weeks of football. No, we are not looking to start really any Patriots in this one aside from Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
That's all.
Demario Douglas should be rostered, but I don't trust it this week.
Yeah, they're giving up 236 pass yards per game. If you're in a position where, but it's like we talked about, man. You should not, unless your team is injury riddled.
Yeah.
This is a week where we don't have any buys. You really should not need to force. I mean, I was saying, I didn't even force Jaden Reed into my lineups unless it was a much deeper league. So, and Jaden Reed, I like infinitely better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I just don't see a reason to force any Patriots into your lineup this week, even if it's a good matchup. Hell, last week it was supposed to be a good matchup with the Commanders. We didn't see too much production out of the Commanders last week, aside from Brian Robinson, which is your starting Mondre.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. If you want to start the Patriots defense or even the Giants defense for that matter, I don't hate it. The Patriots I would probably prefer.
Yeah.
And they're only giving up 97.7 rush yards per game, which combats the only thing the Giants are good at. So I think the Patriots defense might have some success in this one. But yeah, not too much to talk about. So we're going to head right on over to the next game.
Yeah, this one's a bit more exciting. The Buccaneers at the Colts. This one I think should be a decently.
This is a matchup, the Patriots and Giants, between the worst scoring offense and the second worst scoring offense. The Patriots are scoring 0.6 more points per game than the Giants.
Yeah. That's not going to be okay.
Take the under.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, the Bucs at the Colts, which should be a lot more of an exciting game. Yeah. The Colts on defense are 18th against the pass, giving basically 229 yards a game, and 25th against the rush, giving up 130. I am not starting Baker Mayfield. It's just, again, with no buys, I don't think he falls in that top 10. If you're in a 12-man league, he might fall like in that around number 12, like he's in consideration, I guess, but in a 10-man, no. Rachaad White was...
I just feel like with like the return of Justin Fields, the reemergence of Trevor Lawrence,
Kyler Murray,
the emergence of CJ Stroud, there are just options.
Josh Dobbs or Baker Mayfield?
Dobbs
going against the Broncos?
The Bears.
Big difference.
You know, I really want to say Josh Dobbs because he, at the very least, gives you the rushing upside, which he's been doing well. He has been running the ball well. So I'll say Josh Dobbs.
Okay. I like that one too. You know, we rock with Josh Dobbs over
especially
here.
With the possibility of it's unlikely, but also possible that Justin Jefferson plays. So that would boost him even more.
Yeah. Well, Rachaad White was a full participant all week, but is now questionable with a knee injury. Something to heavily monitor. If Rachaad White does play in this game, I am playing him. He is one of the hottest running backs in the NFL right now. He is, I believe, he was the RB6 coming into this week, mainly because his past 4 or 5 games have just been incredible. He is someone I'm absolutely starting. If he misses, I am not starting Chase Edmonds. I'm not even considering it. Absolutely not. And then the receivers, Mike Evans, absolutely starting. And then like Chris Godwin, how we've talked about, you know, like guys like Demario Douglas. I'd rather start Chris Godwin. Because even if, you know, he doesn't get the touchdown, I know they're going to pass decently efficient as well. And Chris Godwin will be out there. So,
yes.
Chris Godwin, honestly, he's around like a flex play right now. If you're in a 2-receiver league, depending how your receiver looks, I can see him being on the bench this week. But a 3-receiver league with the flex, he's a flex option, absolutely. And then
Chris Godwin against the Colts or Zay Flowers at the Chargers.
I want to say Zay Flowers, but I also want to see what it looks like closer to game time because I believe he's questionable.
He is questionable.
Oh, but you said he participated.
Yeah, he was a full participant.
Then Zay Flowers.
Game time decision is Odell.
Yeah, then Zay Flowers. I like Zay Flowers more.
Something we're talking about Rachaad White. Pretty interesting. Obviously, the first game after the bye, they played Detroit, and Detroit was on top of the world run defense at that point. Did not do too well. Since then, if he hasn't gotten at least 6 targets in a game, he's run the ball 20 times. The opportunities since week 7. So in week 7, 19 touches. After that, 16, 24, 23, 16. The ball is in his hands.
And the Colts are
And
25th against the rush, giving up 130 yards. I know the Bucs don't run it efficiently, but like you said, they've been showing they're willing to run it.
yeah, we've seen in the past 4 weeks, he has run the ball 58 times.
I love it. I love it for Rashad.
That's 58 rush attempts and 21 targets.
Mm-hmm.
79 opportunities in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, basically 20 a game. Incredible.
Man,
yeah,
that's huge.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean,
but yeah,
Cade Otton, I'm not starting. And then to go to the Colts, Gardner Minshew, the Bucs are 31st against the pass. They're giving up 270 yards. They're pretty stout against the run, 5th in the league, giving up 90 yards, 31st in the league against the pass. Gardner Minshew is not a guy I'm considering starting. The 31st against the pass just makes me like Michael Pittman, who's an obvious start, but then Josh Downs. I like Josh Downs a lot. He's been banged up the past couple weeks, not really playing a full game. He should be full form, ready to go this week. They said he's ready to go. Yeah, they said he's healthy. So Josh Downs, an absolute start for me, again, in like a flex role. And then
yes,
Jonathan Taylor, I don't care if they played the Eagles. I just feel like you have to start Jonathan Taylor. Strictly because he has looked back in form. He's one of those guys, you start him no matter what. If he can't run it too successfully, they're going to use him out the backfield. We've seen Zach Moss being phased out more and more as Jonathan Taylor's got back, which is kind of crazy to me because Zach Moss was not even serviceable. He was good when Jonathan Taylor was missing.
He has been completely relegated to a backup.
And like a Chase Edmonds backup, not like a... You know what I mean? Not like a guy who's going to come in and get some snaps.
No.
He's just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you paid Jonathan Taylor. You might as well play him the whole game. Fair play. But that's it for the Colts. I'm not looking at their tight ends, Kylan Granson. I'm sorry.
No, we've talked about this. It's not even.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but is that all you have for that one?
Yeah.
All right, so our next one should actually be a fun game. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Now, a few years ago, this would have been
poverty,
dreadful. But things have changed, boys. Things have changed, and quite a bit at that. These are two of the top offenses in the league. The Jags have been a little inconsistent. Granted, it doesn't really help when you get waxed by the 49ers at home and only put up 3 points. That doesn't really reflect too well on the statistics.
Yeah.
But so keep that in mind, that currently they're scoring 23 points per game, 225 yards through the air at 15th in the league, and 108 yards on the ground. So they're about middle of the pack. Like I said, they are a top offense, but you have to consider the game they put up 3 points.
Yeah.
That's going to skew things. Yeah. Much like how we talk about the Broncos and that 70-point game. That was 400 yards rushing in. You have to pay attention to the outlier games because that will skew things.
Yeah.
But realistically, Houston has been interesting this year because last year it was like a run funnel defense. Every time you had a running back playing against Houston, it was a smash start. This year, it hasn't necessarily been the case. They're only giving up 96.5 yards on the ground, which is 9th in the league. So from last year to this year, was not expecting Houston to jump to a top 10 run defense. However, we have seen the defensive prowess of DeMeco Ryans, and I guess that gives some way to why it is as good as it is. Now, on the side of passing, they're not doing so well. Giving up 241 yards through the air. So that's a bit, it makes me excited for the Jags passing attack, though. I think Christian Kirk should be good. Zay Jones is yet again questionable. I don't think we will get a game this year where he won't be questionable. At this rate, it seems like that knee is going to be bothering him the whole season. But Christian Kirk, and I mean, at this point,
You have to.
Melvin Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
Like you did not draft him that high to watch him rot on your bench. I think Trevor Lawrence is startable in this one. You see how many passing yards they're giving up. I think Trevor Lawrence should be good. Obviously, you're starting Travis Etienne regardless of how good the opposing rush defense is.
Yeah.
The hope is that he finds his way into the end zone regardless of efficiency, and we're hoping he gets a couple targets out of the backfield.
Yep.
It's been a couple of rough back-to-back weeks for Etienne. Obviously, that Niners game wasn't going to go well, but we're looking for a bit of improvement in this one. Now, the Jags are giving up 87 yards on the ground. This makes it very hard to confidently go out there and say start Devin Singletary despite his last 2 weeks of dominance. It's like we talked about, you're not really faced with any bye week issues this week. You should have all your guys. So I'm not really forcing Devin Singletary into my lineup. If you do happen to have an injury-riddled roster, then I'm more comfortable with the start.
Yeah.
But just taking into account that the Jags aren't really giving up much on the ground, and it's not like Singletary has been a pass catcher out of the backfield. The last couple games, it has been all volume on the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm really taking that into account, not excited to start him unless I'm in a position where I'm kind of forced to give in.
Dameon Pierce could return. He could play this game too.
Dameon Pierce could also play in this game.
So it's...
And there's guys that, if that's going to be the case, I might rather go with Tyjae Spears against the god-awful Carolina rush defense.
Yeah.
Might go Keaton Mitchell against the There's just some better matchups that, especially with the unknowing of Dameon Pierce and how good that if they're splitting reps against a defense only giving up 87 yards on the ground, definitely don't want that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are keeping our eyes open for that. But much like the Texans, the Jags cannot stop anything in the air. They are giving up 254 yards per game.
Uh-oh.
Nico Collins, Tank Dell. If Noah Brown was playing, I'd say him, but I don't know if I could confidently tell you to start Robert Woods.
No.
Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, start him.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, are we even questioning at this point anymore? I mean, I don't think there's a reason to. He's proved he's a fantasy viable quarterback.
It's incredible, his rookie season. Honestly, incredible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's great to see. I mean, it truly does. Like, we've seen so many first-round disappointments. Obviously, we've had the ones that are Bryce Young, this most very recent one, Zach Wilson. A lot of guys that won't even be remembered, like Josh Rosen and the bunch that have been relegated to
the
I don't
CFL.
even know if Josh Rosen played, yeah. So, but it's good to see CJ Stroud doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's really how you feel about Matt Amendola this week?
No. I hate him.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, you're looking at the guys that you have that have been performing and don't think too much. Don't take them out.
Yeah.
Do not start someone over Tank Dell this week. Very simple.
Yeah. And this next game's also a pretty interesting one because, one, it's a division game. The Steelers at the Bengals. The second point, no Joe Burrow. How will this Bengals team look without him? The Bengals defense, honestly, both these defenses have been terrible. The Bengals defense is just worse. They're 27th against the pass, giving up 248 yards. That doesn't matter too much because Kenny Pickett cannot throw the ball. But they're 30th against the rush, 138 yards.
Oh, but they fired Matt Canada, though.
Steelers fans think that is the saving. This is not like the Ravens having to get rid of Greg Roman to like, you know what I mean, to enhance Lamar and free
It
him
is
to make
not gonna
better.
magically unlock Kenny Pickett. Like,
No,
there's
no.
nothing there to unlock.
Now I'm curious to see. That's a good point, though. I am curious to see what they plan to do differently, and also against a Jake Browning-led Bengals team now. But I don't like Kenny Pickett this week. I think you can start Najee and Jalen Warren. They'll both get enough carries and also catches out of the backfield to be relevant in this one. Deontay Johnson, yes, but it's weird because when he came back, he was getting like this hyper volume, and then we remembered that Kenny Pickett can't. But Deontay, I do like starting this week. I think you can start him. It's just mainly, I don't know what we're going to expect from Jake Browning, so it very well could be one of those games where the Steelers are just getting ample opportunities on offense because of the Bengals' inefficiency to move the ball. George Pickens, yeah. I think George Pickens got to sit this one out with no bye. Like, again, like Josh Downs, Chris Godwin, guys like that. I like him a little more than Pickens. I really do. It's tough because Pickens could have. He's always that deep threat option, that big play option. So, I mean, if you want to throw him at the flex, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It's just very hard to put any faith in the Steelers passing attack. We literally saw Kenny Pickett throw for 106 yards last week.
Yeah.
What kind of confidence is that supposed to garner? Absolutely none, man. Like, realistically, my hope is that with whatever new, apparently they're not going to change the system too much, but my hope is that they get back to, let's throw the ball to our guys out of the backfield because our quarterback has a noodle arm.
Yeah.
Let the guys work. Let Jalen Warren work.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I think there is hope for. Otherwise, I mean, you're relying on the targets for Deontay Johnson and the big plays for George Pickens, and that is it.
Mm-hmm. And then Pat Freiermuth, I'm not starting. I can't trust him as a top 10 tight end, especially this week. And then
I'd much rather start Taysom Hill.
Oh, yeah. And one thing before I go to the Bengals, I don't hate starting the Steelers' defense in this game. Their defense is not good stats-wise, like passing yards and rushing yards, but their ability...
They're disruptive.
They get turnovers, they get sacks, they cause fumbles. If they can pressure Jake Browning, they might get a pick. It's just...
They're very disruptive, but they're not efficient.
No, they're not efficient. They're 23rd against the pass and the rush. They give up 240 yards in the air, 127 on the ground. Obviously, we're not starting Jake Browning. We are clearly starting Joe Mixon. He will be relied on heavily in this game. Jamar Chase, you have to start no matter what. T. Higgins will be missing. How do you feel about Tyler Boyd?
Look, I don't want to go as far to say as the relevance for everybody else in that receiver room went out the window, but you know, it's hard. We talked about how Jake Browning threw his first NFL pass last week.
He's 27.
Dude, so this isn't even like a Gardner Minshew stepping in and taking over. This is complete inexperience. A lot of times when we've seen that, it has been these guys can't come in and provide for more than like one or two guys a game.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be Jamar Chase. And my issue is I don't know if that other guy is going to be Tyler Boyd, that Iosivas guy.
Trent Irwin, Tanner Hudson.
Tanner Hudson. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know who it's going to be. So not with any confidence can I start Tyler Boyd this week.
No, I feel the same way. I think you have to leave Tyler Boyd on the bench and see if he will be viable with Jake Browning because it's just not a risk I'd be willing to take when there's other guys that I at least know their floor is going to be higher due to their circumstances being a little bit better. Evan
Yeah.
McPherson, I honestly I feel like you drop him. You drop him because you just don't know what this offense is going to provide. You don't want to roster a kicker. You should start someone else over him this week, and then you don't want to roster a backup kicker. Kickers, unless you have, I mean, crap, even this year, like, Justin Tucker, Daniel Carlson were going like first and second. Like, people were taking them like round 11, 12, being like, oh, they're going to score this much more. It just hasn't happened. Kickers are so, you can streamline kickers week by week and be fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably. I mean, it's just. I mean, because like, look at the Titans. Look at how good Nick Folk was, and then
Look at the Titans.
look at the Titans.
Yeah.
Now it's like, how many opportunities is he even going to get to? And the worst part with these teams is we're at a point in time where they don't just take points anymore. If they get down a couple scores, it doesn't matter if they're
Fourth
in
and
field goal,
four,
they're going for
going
it.
for
They're
it.
going for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst. That's been the worst part this year about kickers. Is
Yeah.
that happens so much. So yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, and then obviously I'm not starting the Bengals defense, but that's all I had for this one. I'm very curious. Jake Browning.
See how this goes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
I saw from Zach Taylor, they were saying they're not going to change the offense for Jake Browning. So
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
And Jake Browning, somewhat local, Folsom kid. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm rooting for him, but I just don't know how it's gonna go. But I'm rooting for him.
Especially in this game. It'd really obviously help out the Ravens if the Bengals won this game. So yeah, go Jake Browning.
Yeah.
On to another AFC North team. We have the Cleveland Browns going into Denver to play the Broncos. Now, this one is honestly hard. I will say this one is difficult because off of, when you look at the statistics for the Broncos and see that they're 32nd in rush defense, currently giving up 160 per game. They're not actually giving up 160 yards per game. They're not great, but they're not that bad.
Yeah.
I'm still starting Jerome Ford. I'm less inclined to start Kareem Hunt.
I agree.
But, if you're in that position, you're in that position.
Yeah.
It's hard. It really is, because you want to be able to say, go ahead and start Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, to me, it seems like the people who benefit most from DTR being there are Elijah Moore and David Njoku, especially David Njoku.
Yeah.
Honestly, I believe David Njoku, throughout this last part of the season, could end up finishing as a top 5 tight end.
Yeah.
And that might sound crazy, especially like, oh, they got DTR in there now. It's like, did you see how many targets David Njoku got last game?
Mm-hmm.
I think he got 15 targets.
Yeah.
So, man, as much as I struggle with Amari Cooper, I'm at the exact opposite point with David Njoku.
Yeah.
He's an every week start at this point for me, with that target volume. And man, like Amari Cooper is just, until I can see them at least put together like one solid game, I have to bench him.
Yeah.
And Elijah Moore is like, he might be, I'm still, for fantasy purposes, I cannot trust like the hypothetical third option in a DTR led offense.
No.
So, their kicker has been performing very well. So if you're in need of a kicker, like he's one, McLaughlin, I'd prefer him over McPherson and some of the others, because Browns defense is good enough that they can kick field goals. So they do it a lot.
Yeah.
Now, getting to the Broncos side of the ball. the last one was difficult. This becomes exceedingly difficult with the recent success of the Broncos. Well, now they're going up against the statistically best defense in the league.
And they're top 3 for sure. Their defense is insane. No Denzel Ward.
Their defense is ridiculous. Currently only giving up 143 yards through the air. That is just insane. Despite that, as we said, no Denzel Ward. You are starting Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
His ability that he has shown this year, some of the touchdowns and just passes in general that he has caught. I'm starting him every week.
Mm-hmm.
He's just on a tear right now, and until he burns me, I'm throwing him out there.
Yeah.
Now, Javonte Williams. This is a little tougher this week.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually really hard because he had been getting most of the volume, but then last week they got in positions where it was hurry up and they needed to pass. They needed to catch up. Then it became the Samaje Perine show. I don't know what direction this game is going to go early. If the Broncos get down early, we're going to see a lot of Samaje Perine. The Browns don't score that much.
No.
So I don't know whether or not it's going to be a game with a whole lot of Javonte Williams volume. Or it's just hard to kind of navigate this week. So preferably, I think I'm sitting Denver Broncos running backs.
Yeah.
The only Bronco that I'm really comfortable starting is Courtland Sutton. This defense is just too good to take chances with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. Like in the same game, I have ranked a little bit ahead of Javonte Williams. Just, it's hard, man. Because these are guys that have been doing good. You want to get out there, but
this is a very tough matchup. Yeah.
This defense is too good. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. I mean, not too much you can do.
No Jerry Jeudy?
No,
you're not rolling him?
Not in this one. No, not in this one.
No, neither would I.
No.
Our next one, just keep the division matchups going. The Rams at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 14th against the pass, 217 yards, 26th against the rush, 132 yards. The Rams have, I don't want to say been riddled with injuries, but Kyren Williams is coming off the IR with that ankle injury, and they say he is good to go. He is ready to take back the backfield. Them letting Darrell Henderson walk makes me feel like, okay, Kyren Williams is ready to just take the reins back. He's a guy I am absolutely starting this week. Matt Stafford, no. Can't do it with you, Matt Stafford. I'm sorry. And then Cooper Kupp again. With that ankle injury, we discussed it in the injury report. Apparently he was a full participant Friday, and he's ready to go too. So you have to start him. You have to start Cooper Kupp, and you have to start Puka Nacua.
Yeah, I mean, I'm scared that not the same thing's going to happen, but that we're not going to get a full game out of him.
It's very possible.
Yeah, he's almost like brittle at this point.
Mm-hmm. But just talent alone, I mean, you have to start him. You just do. Tyler Higbee, we are obviously not starting.
No. So far out on him that can't even see him from where we're standing.
It's crazy he was somewhat relevant at the beginning of the season. Again, I'm going to keep shouting out his agent. How he got that, man, it was like 42 mil or something over 3 years. I have no idea. I have no idea how he got that money. Unless we're just missing him being George Kittle blocking ability. That could be the case. I don't know if we're missing that. But you don't need to pay him that. Remember the Ravens, you guys had, what was his name? Like Nick Boyle or something. You could pay him like $1.5 million. He'll go out there and block all pro. Like I've I have no idea.
Lost for words.
Yeah. The Cardinals side of the ball is very interesting this week because Emery DeMercado is questionable. That doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a James Conner backfield, but Michael Wilson is out.
Wow. That one hurts a little more.
Hollywood is questionable.
So,
the Rams are 15th against the pass, give up 218 a game. They're 21st against the rush, 117. I like firing up Kyler. I like firing up James Conner.
are we taking the Rondell road or are we lighting the Dortch torch?
I think we're lighting the Dortch torch. The thing is Rondell is big playability. Much bigger than Greg Dortch. But Greg Dortch, I swear, last season he did the same thing. He'll have this 2 or 3 week stint where he's just, here's 8 targets, here's 10 targets, and he catches them. And then, poof, he's just gone again. He's done his service for the year. But even in that case, like with Hollywood being questionable, if Hollywood misses, I like starting Greg Dortch. But if Hollywood plays, it's just tough to confidently be like, oh, I'm going to start Greg Dortch or I'm going to start Rondale Moore. I'm trying to think of someone like Greg Dortch and it's just tough.
Yeah, because it puts you in a position. It's like we don't need to be having a conversation in a week with no buys like Greg Dortch or Rashad Bateman. Because I was like, oh, that's a good one. Rashad Bateman's playing like the dead last.
But neither of them should be starting. Not this week.
Neither of them should be starting this week. Exactly. It's like.
It's just, it's tough, and because they're like at the top of the waivers, but then it's like, okay, say Michael Wilson comes back next week. Then what? Then what's the number? It's just, I don't know. I'm leaving that to someone else because Greg Dortch could just absolutely burn you this week. He could just fade back into the abyss. We have no idea. But he also could be an absolute hit this week. But I'm letting someone else take that risk. And then Trey McBride. That's all there is to it. You're obviously firing him up. He is.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely emerging on my dynasty team, and I love him for it.
Oh yeah, you cannot bench him at this point. Somewhat similar to like, when Sam Laporta started heating up. It's just like don't.
You got to keep
think about it too much. Just put him in your lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, my next game, should be interesting, but I don't know what the hell Josh Allen's ever going to do. So it could be a great game, the Bills at the Eagles. The Eagles are giving up 248 yards through the air. But the Bills can't really run the ball.
No.
They have 117 yards on the ground per game. And you look at that and you're like, oh, well, that's 11th. Yeah, but if you actually watch the Bills, their timing when they choose to, like...
It's so weird. And those yards are so split up. So split up. That's what kills it.
Yeah, that especially, yes. Like, there's really big games and extreme poverty games. There's just like no congruence on this offense, it seems. They're just out there kind of doing shit. Like, seriously, I watch the Bills and I feel like I'm watching backyard football, which is fun sometimes. But other times, it's like, there needs to be some form of discipline here, not just Josh Allen running around and chucking the ball up.
Yeah.
Somebody was, I saw one of my favorite TikTok, channels, the Trap House Sports. He's like, Josh Allen out there throwing it up to anybody with shoulder pads on. Damn. He is.
Whichever team. It doesn't even matter what team. Either team.
He's like, if they got a helmet on, he's throwing the ball to him. He is some of the time, and it's just they are going against a defense that, while they have been vulnerable at times, you can't run on them.
No.
They're giving up 76.5. They're first in the league in rushing. James Cook gotta sit this week.
Yeah.
It is, especially with the recent ridiculous emergence of Ty Johnson. So we know that they'll throw it to him out of the backfield. They, for some reason, still throw the ball to Latavius Murray out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, if James Cook had the Rachaad White role, I would not care that they're playing the Eagles this week. It wouldn't matter.
But he don't.
But it's the fact that they choose to make Ty Johnson and Latavius Murray relevant every week.
James Cook or Javonte Williams? You have to pick one. You gotta pick one.
James Cook. No, Javonte.
Walks back immediately. No. I know.
Javonte.
And I've said that I've had the mantra of your running backs playing the Eagles, you sit them.
Yeah.
And it's held true.
I'd rather go the Browns again because it's the Bills in this game. Like I said, they don't really run the ball.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, we can't do this successfully anyways. Let's just not do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can really, Josh Allen's probably going to throw the ball like 40 times in this game, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stephon Diggs is an obvious one. I think we're on the same modem from last week. I trust Khalil Shakir more than I trust Gabe Davis.
You know what I'm going to ask next? Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
This could be the Gabe Davis 3-touchdown week.
It could.
But it probably won't be.
It's like we at least, even if it doesn't get him home, we see Amari get targets.
Yeah.
We have seen Gabe Davis literally get like one target. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that happens. How you have a guy that can score multiple touchdowns in a game only draw one target.
Yeah.
But it's a reality and not one that we will see out of Amari Cooper. So I do have to go Amari Cooper on that one. But
yeah,
both, again, very tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, would I start Khalil Shakir over Amari Cooper? Maybe.
Think about it.
For some odd reason, he has been reliable than Gabe Davis has, and they're giving him the ball.
Yeah.
It's insane, but yeah, he's probably a decent flex in this one. Dalton Kincaid. Come on.
Yeah.
Throw him in. Throw him in. And you're happy about it. On to the Eagles side of the ball. Honestly, start your guys.
Yeah. All of them. All four of them.
Start them.
Yeah.
Not gonna harp on that too much. It's Bills are
on defense. They're not a defense to really like fear like crazy.
No, it was like they beat up on the Jets last week. Woohoo.
Yeah.
So yeah, start your Eagles.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
you should have fun with this next one.
Another division matchup. The Chiefs at the Raiders. The Raiders have been better than I've possibly ever seen in my life that I can remember against the Pass.
All but one of your games have been division match.
I mean, yeah, the Raiders are 11th against the pass. They're giving up 210 yards. They're 27th against the rush, giving up 132 yards. The Chiefs, fantasy-wise, though, it's the same story, though. You obviously start Mahomes. You obviously start Travis Kelce. You're firing up Isaiah Pacheco, especially without Jerick McKinnon in this one. And then we get to the receivers. And there's no McCole Hardman, no Kadarius Toney. So now we're looking
I'm cool off Rashee Rice at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You just don't.
It just feels so forced. It feels like something that we want to be more than something that it actually is. You know, it's like, yeah, he's a guy that you could put out there and get like 8-10 points, but is he someone who can consistently? And you know, like, oh, like he's out there for so and so amount of. It's like, dude, it's not like I'm not looking at him being out there any percentage of snaps. Like, you know, it makes a difference with guys like Rashad Bateman, where there are not that many targets that they're going to throw the ball to. In Kansas City, I mean, we saw Justin Watson get 11 targets last week.
Yeah. And we might see MVS get a touchdown, Noah Gray get a touchdown. Yeah, we're starting our big three for the Chiefs. Absolutely kills me to say it, but I do like starting the Chiefs defense this week. I think the defense could wreak havoc.
It's been so good. So good.
Yeah.
Unbelievably so.
And then the Raiders side of the ball, I think the big three has now dwindled down to the big two. Obviously, we're not starting Aiden O'Connell, Josh Jacobs. The Chiefs are 4th against the pass, giving up 171 yards. They're 18th against the rush, giving up 112. If there's one thing we've known about Antonio Pierce's offense, it is their willingness to just run the crap out of the ball with no one but Josh Jacobs. He is the only one getting carries. So Josh Jacobs is a must start. He's going to carry the ball 15, 20 times at the very least, and hopefully get a couple out of the backfield for you. Devontae Adams has reemerged as, I mean, he's always been Aiden O'Connell's favorite target. We've seen Jacoby Myers kind of take a step back, and honestly, I think he stepped far enough back to where I would not start Jacoby Myers this week. This could be...
Oh, wow.
What?
They have a Josh Jacobs line set at 16.5 rush attempts, so...
Right in that 15 to 20 range. I mean... And the only reason he might not hit that is if the Chiefs go up crazy early and then the Raiders, feel the need to pass. But
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Jacoby Myers, I don't feel comfortable starting this week. I think there's better options, safer options, I should say. Michael Mayer, no. And because I had put it in the description of one video, or I put Fire McDaniels, never mind. But I've been very adamant before about wanting to bench Jimmy G. I may be one of the few Raider fans this week that would prefer to see Jimmy G in this game. I don't think Aiden O'Connell will come out ready. All the more reason to like the Chiefs' defense. If the Chiefs go up big early, I hope to see some Jimmy G in this game. So, but that's all I had for that one. I believe we are now into our Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And, well, funny enough, it was some post about Lamar's record in Sunday night and Herbert's record in Sunday night. Who's going to get the amount of Charger fans that just to lose by multiple touchdowns so Brandon Staley gets fired. Mm-hmm. That is the point that they have reached with that man.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. They're 4-6. Their season isn't over, but they've squandered so many opportunities. They could very well be one of the top AFC teams right now, and they've just down the drain. While the Ravens' defense is very good, they're gonna have to stay with the Chargers. They're gonna have to keep up with the Chargers on offense. So while the Chargers have a god awful defense, I still think it's going to be the first game without Mark Andrews, the first whole game without Mark Andrews. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly this Ravens defense or Ravens offense decides to do. They are currently leading the league in rushing. I think it's very obvious at this point that you are starting Gus Edwards. Uh-oh.
That's good.
Oh, damn it. Okay. But yeah, no, Gus is, when they get first and whatever, closer they get to the goal line,
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters just starts heating up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he should be another good week for him. I even like Keaton Mitchell in this one. Zay Flowers, I think, is a great start.
Mm-hmm.
Odell is a game time decision. I think he should play. He was a full participant in the most recent practice. If Odell is unable to go, then yeah, nah.
Not
Just
this
say.
week. Not this week.
Not this week. The worst part is the matchup is so good. The matchup is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just you would be putting yourself in a position where you're sitting one of your more surefire guys for risk. And while the risk might end up paying off, like I said, this is probably the best possible match. The Chargers defense is giving up 291.6 yards per game.
Mm-hmm. Through the air alone.
Through the air.
Yeah.
Yes. They're giving up 393.6 total.
With the defensive coach.
Yeah. What their head coach calls the defense. And apparently is going to continue doing.
Yeah, he got pressed about it. Was like, what do you mean?
About it.
I'm calling.
Pissed off.
I know, like the defense was doing good. He got defensive, like they were good.
Continue calling the Okay, so you guys are going to continue giving up 400 yards a game. Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, deeper formats. Guys like Odell, Rashad, Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with. But the deeper formats. Otherwise, yeah, you're not. It's pretty much just Zay, and then the running backs and Lamar.
Isaiah Likely. Rostered, not started.
Rostered, not started. Just like I said, because the last week, I mean, Mark goes out, he gets 2 targets for the rest of that game, drops them both. Charlie Collar caught his only target, which is just like, let's kind of see how that goes.
Yeah. And Ravens defense?
Not this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Not this week.
The Chargers side of the ball is very easy to talk through. The Ravens defense has been one of the best in the league. They are 3rd against the pass, only basically 170 yards through the air, 13th on the ground, 103.7, so basically 104. The Chargers have not shown an ability to run the ball very capably at all.
Do you know how many yards Austin Eckler has on the year?
Rushing? How many games has he played? Does it say? Played like 6? Okay, I'll take a guess anyway. He's got 265 rush yards.
Okay, thankfully more than that. 396.
Oh, 390. See, I need to know how many games.
Okay, I was like, okay, that would be.
Because I know he missed a good amount of. He's probably played what, like 6-7 games now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Okay, 7 games. See, I was thinking 5. Whatever. But yeah, no matter what, like.
RB25 on the year right now.
What's crazy is I feel like I've been the biggest Justin Herbert hater, and it's not even me hating on him. It's more so the position he's in.
Their inability to help him do anything.
Yeah. It's just
Keenan Allen. That's it.
Like, I look at the weapons. Eckler, you have to start with receiving upside, obviously. Keenan Allen is a smash start. And then I look at the other guys. There's still no Josh Palmer. It's Quentin Johnston, who just is not good right now. I'm not going to throw his career and be like he's not going to be a good receiver. Right now, he is terrible.
Yeah,
not even serviceable.
No.
Like, at all. He has not stepped up at all. And then Gerald Everett, Donald Parham. These dudes are okay, but it's not like that's some, like, oh, here's this good weapon at tight end. It's just not.
Like, Jalen Guyton and Darius Davis is just...
It's tough again for the Chargers. They can never stay healthy, and you have to start Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
but
outside of Herbert and Allen, the Chargers as a whole have been largely disappointing this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean,
fantasy and real life.
Yeah, but that's it. You have your 3 guys on the Chargers. You have to start Herbert, Allen, and Eckler. You don't think about anyone else.
Nah, you can't be desperate enough to go out there and start Guyton, or
No.
at this point, it feels like desperation to start Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about that leap that the rookie wide receivers make, and it's scary because he might not make that leap.
And
He
it's
might
been
not make
right
that
there
late
for him.
season leap. It's been that, bro, in his hands.
Look at
Right in his
Addison as the
hands.
number one receiver with Josh Dobbs as the quarterback. Quentin Johnson, you got Justin Herbert with the number one corner obviously going on Keenan Allen. He still can't make it happen.
There's no excuses.
No. But that's all I had. We could close this thing out.
Yeah, and I'd actually prefer to do that because this might not be a bad game. We got the Bears going into Minnesota. Actually, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to be a good game. The Vikings are very much alive in their division, especially with the recent loss from the Packers, or recent loss from the Lions given to them by the Packers. Yes. But with Justin Fields back, we saw the Bears fight for, and they should have won that game last week, but
they should be glad they didn't.
Ooh. I wonder if, anyways, the Bears are probably going to lose this game.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm not starting Justin Fields. He showed in his very first game back. It's not like he hurt his leg. He didn't have a lower body injury. He hurt his thumb. That is not going to affect the way that he runs the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be the lead ball carrier on the Chicago Bears. Did he not go for over 100 in his first week back last week? I believe he did. Let me check that really quick.
Yeah,
because
he had 18 carries for 104 yards. He had 18 carries.
How am I supposed to start a Bears running back?
You don't. You're not supposed to.
You can't.
No.
Like, what opportunity is being left for them?
Unbelievable.
Realistically, this is what we wanted to see out of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
This is, what we were drafting him for. But, yeah, it completely eliminates the relevance of the running backs. Even if Deontay Foreman doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot confidently start Roschon Johnson or Khalil Herbert with the quarterback running the ball damn near 20 times.
No.
And realistically, they were really successful against a pretty tough team doing that. I think we might see a lot of 10-plus rush attempt games for Justin Herbert, meaning
Justin Fields.
Yeah, not Herbert. Oh my God. Herbert, if we start seeing 10-plus rush games out of Herbert, then Austin Eckler is dust. But yeah, Fields, I could definitely see multiple games of this, which definitely hurts every Bears running back. So
yeah.
But other than that, DJ Moore, gotta throw him out there.
Mm-hmm. Cole Kmet.
Nah.
Okay. Fair,
It's no.
And were you done with the Bears?
Yeah. Please, for the love of God, do not start Darnell Mooney.
No. The Vikings.
But maybe Cairo Santos.
Yeah. No. I agree with that one. And going to the Vikings, started off with the rocket scientist himself, Josh Dobbs. I'm starting Josh Dobbs this week. He's currently the QB 11, and that includes his first week where he had just gotten into Arizona and put up .98. Even with a .98 week, he's QB 11 against the Bears. he's just one of those guys that he's shown this consistency that I feel like we can't underestimate. He's kind of like a Sam Howell. He's really had a solid season. Now it depends. QB 11 on the season. It depends how your league looks, I guess. When I look at the QBs for this week, where does he fall in the projection? He is projected number 16, behind like a guy like Baker Mayfield, behind Jared Goff, behind Herbert against Baltimore, Brock Purdy. It's
I like it. I like it.
yeah, it all depends. But if you have Josh Dobbs, depending on the other quarterback you have, I do like the Josh Dobbs start this week. Something I absolutely hate this week because the Bears' pass defense, they're 26th in the league. They give up 246 yards. They suck against the pass. That's why I like the Josh Dobbs. The Bears' rush defense only gives up 79.5 yards. Now, I know that doesn't translate to how many fantasy points they give up to running backs, which is mainly because of touchdowns they give up. But Alexander Mattison is not very good at football. He's just not. He's a starter that should not be a starter this season. And his past 5 weeks, 6, 4, 17, 4, 7. And he only got the 17 because he had 49 receiving yards on only 2 catches and a touchdown. I don't like the Alexander Mattison start. Ty Chandler has looked very good with the touches he's gotten there. Honestly, he should get more. I don't feel comfortable starting him either, but I'm staying away from the Vikings running backs on a week that you should be good with other options.
Yeah.
And then
I agree, especially when it's like I feel like most of the rushing production that they get on Monday is going to come out of like broken plays and scrambles from Josh Dobbs.
Exactly. And that's another reason we like him as a quarterback, the rushing upside.
Yeah.
That always helps. Justin Jefferson's still questionable. If Justin Jefferson does play, you have to throw him out there, obviously. But if he doesn't play, I don't think it changes anything for who I'm starting. Whether he plays or not, I'm starting Jordan Addison. I like Jordan Addison more if Justin Jefferson doesn't play, but either way, I'm still starting him. And then TJ Hawkinson, we are obviously rolling out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. Greg Joseph is the 24th kicker in the league fantasy-wise, and their defense is actually 10th. Wow. But that could be because they haven't had a bye. So, I don't know. How do you feel about the Vikings defense?
I don't really feel anything about the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
I can't comfortably.
I feel like there's better options.
I mean, yeah, it's just a divisional game, and it's going to go. I don't know if Justin Fields is going to run all over them. Yeah. Divisional games are usually ones I prefer not to.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about Cole Kmet, and one thing I wanted to add before we got out of here. Although he is the tight end 6 right now, since Justin Fields returned last week, in that game, 4 targets, caught 3 of them for 20, finished as the tight end 25. Against the Lions defense, whose weakness happens to be the pass.
Yeah.
Scares me. It truly does. It worries me. So, yeah. I'm not sure about Kmet right now. But, yeah, that will be it for this one. We will be back on Monday with all of our recaps, obviously aside from the Monday night. That will be on Tuesday with the waiver episode. But, yeah, any questions you guys may have, anything you guys might want to see, as you know, it is kind of dwindling down as far as the fantasy season goes. We don't have that much left of it. So after it ends, let us guys know, or you guys let us know what kind of content you want to see. Like, we're going to segue into basketball, but if you guys have any other ideas, if you want us to, cover the draft or whatever you might be interested in seeing, just let us know, give us some ideas. And once again, thank you for all of the support. If you guys had any interest in getting in on the sleeper with us, just hit us up. Any social media, we are always there to respond. And Derek, go ahead and finish it off.
Come back next time. Take more ups the first team.
Yes, indeed.